Alright, what's up everyone, I'm Loki, and today we're going to be taking a look at a preview of the Week 12 matchup between the 7-3 Seattle Seahawks and the 3-6-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Before we get into that though, I just wanted to thank everyone for over 3,500 subscribers. The support has been amazing, and honestly I can't thank everyone enough, and I'm sorry for being inconsistent the past few weeks with the YouTube channel and the videos. I have been focusing on school a little bit more, there has been a lot of work, but after this next week I should have a lot more time open to be making videos and focusing on YouTube, so that'll definitely be nice. And also, I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving, got to spend some time with their families, eat some food, watch some football. But with that out of the way, let's get into the video. After 5 tough games in a row for the Seahawks, this Eagles game will mark the beginning of the 4-game stretch of pretty easy games before the Seahawks end the season going up against the Rams and the 49ers. With these next 4 games for the Seahawks against the Eagles, Giants, Jets, and the Washington football team, these are definitely games that the Seahawks have to win, and have to win convincingly. These are very easy teams to go up against. They've been struggling the entire year, especially the Jets. The Eagles have been inconsistent on offense, the Giants have been inconsistent all around, and the Washington football team, they played really well on Thanksgiving Day, but other than that, they haven't been too good this entire year. So these next 4 games against pretty easy, pretty weak opponents are going to be very important for the Seahawks going into the future, getting their offensive rhythm going, getting some momentum on defense, and honestly just being ready to go up against the Rams and the 49ers, who are probably going to be some pretty tough matchups, and then hopefully moving on into the playoffs. Coming off of arguably the best win for the Seahawks this year in Week 11 against the Cardinals, they're going to be looking to continue their success on offense and defense. Last week, the defense played really well. They held Kyler Murray in check, didn't let him rush too much. The run game for the Cardinals last week, who came in the #1 rushing team in the league, only had 57 yards, under 4 yards to carry, so the Seahawks defense definitely did really good there. And honestly, when it came to the coverage last week against the Cardinals, I was pleasantly surprised. We played up on some wide receivers sometimes we did our typical 15 yards back, let them get a first down really easily, but we had some really nice breakups, we had some blown plays, but overall it was much better than I've seen this entire season, and that was definitely promising. There is definitely somewhat of an asterisk for the Seahawks defense from this game, because Kyler Murray did seem like he messed up his throwing shoulder a little bit, so he wasn't playing to the fullest of his potential, but overall we still played some pretty good coverage, we had some pretty nice plays, we had a lot of blown plays, but honestly we made up for them because we got some sacks. Carlos Dunlap played really well, and honestly, surprisingly enough, our defense actually played defense. Last week for the Eagles, they really didn't do too good. They kind of just got bullied by the Browns in a very bad weather game. The Browns ran the ball a lot, and they ran the ball very successfully behind Nick Chubb. Carson Wentz did not have a good game whatsoever. He had 2 interceptions, and he had 2 touchdowns, one of which was a garbage time touchdown. But still, honestly, just not a good game for Carson Wentz, and not a really good game for the Eagles defense. But going into this game, when it comes to injuries, the Seahawks have some really good news. Chris Carson and Shaquill Griffin are both going to be back for this game. They have no injury designations coming into this game, not even questionable, nothing whatsoever. They are going to be playing this game right around full strength. And honestly, this is something that is great to hear for the Seahawks, because we have been dealing with a lot of injuries throughout the season, and having Chris Carson back is definitely going to be a huge addition to this offense. Carlos Hyde came back last week, and it was clear that our run game did a lot better, and that allowed Russell Wilson, the passing offense, to be more efficient now that they actually could run play action passes and had a threat to run the ball. And our defense actually played a lot better, being off the field more, where we actually won in time of possession for the first time in 2 weeks. And having Shaquill Griffin back is going to be really nice, especially with Quentin Dunbar on injured reserve now. We don't really have to rely on Trey Flowers to be the #1 corner anymore, which honestly he didn't play particularly bad last game. He definitely had a couple plays where he could have stepped up, made a play in coverage, but he just stayed back because he was scared of getting burnt and getting cooked. But I mean, Trey Flowers, he's definitely a good athlete, he's a good player, he just plays scared. It looks like he plays scared, and it'll be nice to see Shaquill Griffin be able to come in and be that #1 corner and hopefully be able to make plays. Some pretty unfortunate things when it comes to the injuries for the Seahawks, however, are Brandon Shell being out and Kyle Fuller being questionable. Those are definitely some pretty big pieces on our offensive line that we kind of don't want to be missing, and it is unfortunate to see them missing because our offensive line has not been great recently. They've been all right, but they're still not good. We've given up 33 sacks this season, and we do not want to give up 40 or 50 sacks once again, but it's looking like we might. And some other pretty unfortunate injuries are David Moore, Freddie Swain, and DJ Reed all being questionable. DJ Reed has definitely been playing well for us. Honestly, a very big surprise coming into this year. Coming off the practice squad, he's been playing really nice, been making plays. David Moore is definitely an amazing wide receiver 3. Freddie Swain is another really good option for us, and having both of them questionable, hopefully at least one of them will play, and hopefully DJ Reed will play, because honestly, those 3 players are definitely really good, very underrated players that definitely do make an impact for us. But when it comes to the Eagles, they don't have too many injuries, but the injuries that they do have are pretty important ones. Jason Peters is questionable for this game with a toe injury, so he might play, he might not. No one really knows right now. And Lane Johnson is going to be out for this game. Those are 2 guys on the Eagles offensive line that are very important, so that'll definitely be a big hit for the Eagles if both of them don't play. Even if Jason Peters does play, Lane Johnson being out will definitely hurt the Eagles offensive line, who is the worst in the league this season. So this is definitely going to be a big thing that the Seahawks need to go after, because if Jason Peters does not play, then Carlos Dunlap and the rest of the Seahawks defensive line are going to be feasting. We need to get some pressure on the quarterback, and honestly, with the team that has given up the most sacks in the NFL, I would expect the Seahawks to do pretty good, getting at least 3 sacks this game, maybe even 5 or 6. But either way, this is definitely going to be a running game for both teams, because the Seahawks are probably going to be trying to get Chris Carson going, keep Carlos Hyde hot, and honestly just get the run game going, because it helps the passing offense and it helps the defense. And honestly, our team just plays a lot better when we actually have a run game going. And the Eagles, they are a top 5 running team when it comes to yards per carry, but they really just do not run the ball a lot. They are bottom 5 when it comes to attempts, so they're probably going to be trying to use the run game more, give Miles Sanders some more touches, and honestly just hope that things go well, because Carson Wentz has not been playing efficiently. He's been throwing interceptions, he's been throwing some pretty inaccurate passes, and with so many fans trying to get Jalen Hurts to start over Carson Wentz, they definitely aren't going to be trying to get Carson Wentz to play hero ball, throw some interceptions, and make him look worse than he already is looking right now. Like I said earlier, the Eagles are definitely a really solid run team. They average 5 yards a carry as a team, which is the 3rd best in the NFL. However, their attempts are the 4th least in the NFL with 241 attempts. So honestly, they're really good at running the ball. They get some big plays. They have a really good back in Miles Sanders. They just don't run the ball a lot. And it really doesn't make sense to me, because they find so much success running the ball, they just decide not to. And honestly, I'd expect this game for them to try to run the ball, keep Russell Wilson off the field, try to find some success, because Carson Wentz has not been doing particularly well recently for the entire season actually. So honestly, I would think that they're going to run the ball, but seeing as though that this has been a pattern for a while where they've been good at running the ball, they just haven't done it. I don't know if they're actually going to make that change, but I would expect them to. But the Seahawks defense is definitely good when it comes to stopping the run. And when it comes to the Seahawks, they're kind of in a similar situation when it comes to the run game, averaging 4.9 yards a carry, which is the 6th best in the NFL, but they only have ran the ball 246 times, which is the 6th least in the NFL. So like the Eagles, they don't really run the ball too much, but they're very efficient when they do. And this comes from 3 games where they really did not have a running back. And honestly, now that they do have a run game back, it is definitely going to be nice to see them try to run the ball more, because last week they definitely fed Carlos Hyde, and this week I expect them to feed Chris Carson. And honestly, I think Chris Carson's going to do really well, because Chris Carson, Shaquill Griffin, both of them are in contract years. They need to prove themselves if they want to be trying to get extensions. They want to be re-signed to bigger, longer deals. But honestly, I really do think that there's going to be a run game for both teams. The Eagles are a pretty good run defense. They're a pretty good run offense. We're a pretty good run offense. We're a pretty good run defense. It'll definitely be interesting to watch this game, but I do think the Seahawks will probably get the better when it comes to the passing game. So whichever team does win the run game, I don't think it really matters, because the Seahawks passing game is much more efficient than the Eagles. And with that said, I mean, it's obvious that Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. Russell Wilson has had his fair share of interceptions, his fair share of turnovers recently, but he's definitely picked it back up. And Carson Wentz has really just consistently been throwing interceptions, having turnovers, not really playing well. But the Eagles are definitely a team that plays up to their competition and also plays down to their competition. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles actually do pretty well. But as someone who starts Travis Fulgham quite a bit in fantasy, it is very obvious to see Carson Wentz is very just inconsistent, and he likes to use tight ends a lot. So that's something that the Seahawks defense should probably watch out for, because Dallas Goedert has been someone that Carson Wentz really seems to like to throw it to. And something that the Eagles have been trying to use that they really can't do like the Saints is using Jalen Hurts and the kind of Taysom Hill sort of packages. Doesn't really work too well. I hope that the Seahawks don't go too crazy when trying to stop him. Just let him get his 5 yards or whatever that he's going to get. Don't let him get any big plays, and honestly, I think we'll be fine when it comes to that. But overall, I think this is definitely going to be a good game for the Seahawks. Russell Wilson, I will basically guarantee that he's going to outperform Carson Wentz. If he doesn't, I'm going to be very disappointed, and I would be very surprised, honestly. The run game, I feel like it'll be pretty even between both teams. Both teams will probably be pretty efficient. The Seahawks will probably run the ball a lot more than the Eagles, because I'd like to assume that the Seahawks offense will do better early on than the Eagles offense, and will go up to an early lead, and the Eagles will start having to pass the ball a lot sooner than we will. But overall, this will definitely be an interesting game. It'll be really fun to watch DK Metcalf, who last time against the Eagles broke the rookie single game playoff receiving yards record with 160 receiving yards against the Eagles. And honestly, I think this is going to be a good game for the Seahawks offense. The last 2 games against the Eagles have ended 17-9 in the Seahawks' favor, but I do not think that that's going to be the score for this game because 1, the Seahawks don't really play that good of defense to only allow them to 9 points, and 2, the Seahawks offense has been very good this year, and I'd assume that they're going to do really good against a pretty decent, but honestly pretty underperforming Eagles defense. So for this game, I think Chris Carson's going to come out healthy, and he's going to be getting a lot of carries. He's going to do really well with those carries, and I think Russell Wilson, he's going to continue to play efficient behind his run game, and the Seahawks defense, I'd like to hope that they continue to do well. So this game, I think, is going to be probably one of the better games for the Seahawks all season, where we actually play defense and our offense does really well too. I'm going to predict a 35-24 victory for the Seahawks. I think our offense is going to come out, play really well behind Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde. I think our defense will come out, continue the momentum that they've had the past 2 games, and pretty much stop the Eagles, get some pretty good stops, probably allow a couple touchdowns, but still, I think this will be a pretty solid defensive game and definitely a good offensive game for the Seahawks. And like I said, 35-24 is my prediction. I think that this is going to be a good game, a fun game to watch. Definitely a very fun Monday night matchup. Probably one of the better Monday night matchups that we'll have this season. But honestly, I think this will be a good game for the Seahawks. I think the defense comes out and plays well. I think Russell Wilson comes out, plays well. I think Chris Carson comes out and plays well in his first game back. And it'll be really fun to watch. It'll be nice to see Chris Carson back. It'll be nice to have Shaquill Griffin back. And honestly, I'm pretty excited for this game. I expect this game to be a very good win for the Seahawks. Probably one of the first wins where we actually play really well on offense and very solid on defense. I'd like to hope. But honestly, no one really knows what we're going to do. Our defense can either overperform or underperform. Our offense can do really good or really bad. We just have to watch and find out. Hopefully we do end up winning this game. If we don't, I'll be very disappointed. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you let me know down below in the comments what you think is going to happen in this game. Will the Seahawks do well? Will the Eagles do well? Let me know your predictions. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. And with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day.